George McGovern will always be remembered as the Democratic candidate defeated by Richard Nixon in the 1972 presidential election. Aviators, though, will remember the longtime South Dakota senator as a fellow pilot who flew 35 combat missions in B-24 Liberators over German-occupied Europe. While over Austria and on his second flight as aircraft commander, shrapnel came through the windshield of his bomber, Dakota Queen, and barely missed killing him. On another mission, McGovern's bomber was struck heavily by anti-aircraft fire that knocked out 2 of his 4 engines and blew 110 holes in his fuselage. Although highly decorated, McGovern bristled when referred to as a hero and replied by saying that the heroes are the ones who never came home. Carroll Shelby was an unquestioned automotive icon whose vision for performance transformed the industry. Heralded as a champion race car driver, philanthropist, and entrepreneur, designer, car manufacturer, and racing team owner, he embodied ingenuity, tenacity, and the grit needed to overcome any obstacle, qualities that served him well as a pilot. Shelby had learned to recognize and identify aircraft overflying his Texas home when he was only 5 years old. So it was no surprise when he joined the Air Corps a month before Pearl Harbor and earned his wings at the San Antonio Aviation Cadet Center along with friends Bob Hoover and Chuck Yeager. He became an officer, a wartime flight instructor, and test pilot. He had a huge heart with respect to supporting aviation. Baron Hilton, Bob Hoover, Clay Lacy, Joe Clark, and Edsel Ford, his aviation buddies, were counted among his best friends. Al Ueltschi was an extraordinary creative businessman and a dominant force in aviation safety. His entrepreneurialism showed when he was a very young man and opened a hamburger restaurant where the main dish sold for only a nickel. He borrowed $3,500 to buy an open cockpit biplane that he used for teaching others to fly. After later being hired by Pan American World Airways in 1941, Ueltschi was selected as the personal pilot for his company's president and founder, Juan Trippe. This is when he observed that corporate pilots lacked the formal training provided to airline pilots, an insight that inspired him to begin in 1951 a company called Flight Safety. His many honors include the prestigious Wright Brothers Memorial Trophy, his enshrinement in National Aviation Hall of Fame, and in 2006 was awarded the Living Legends of Aviation Lifetime Entrepreneur Award. The most effective safety device in an airplane is a well-trained pilot has become an industry motto. Neil Armstrong, obviously best known for one small step for man and a giant leap for mankind. Aviators know that this was the punctuation mark of an already remarkable career. Armstrong qualified as a naval aviator only 2 weeks after turning 20 and flew 78 missions over Korea. As a research test pilot, he flew the Bell X-1B and made 7 flights in the North American X-15. Astronaut Armstrong was command pilot of Gemini 8 and of course served the same command position on Apollo 11. His post-NASA life included professor of aerospace engineering at the University of Cincinnati. Neil Armstrong was a true, albeit reluctant, American hero, a classic aviator schooled in the tradition of Lindbergh. All 4 of these men left a lasting impression on aviation and will be truly missed.